just last week Codex is released. You have some user stories defined, you give it to Codex, it will say this is your shitty code, I'm going to fix it. This is really happening. Things are disrupting so fast.
Let's take a scenario where everything under the sun is done by AI. So if you are not doing anything, you are not generating income. So what are these AI doing? What are they creating and who will buy it? Another AI? I think it's a very far-fetched thought, right? How much AI can replace what we do. But it's happening. AI is doing something which you tell, but that it doesn't think beyond it. It has references of what you have done until now. It doesn't know what you want to do in future.
But there is another side of the world. I won't say pessimistic, but they are saying it is getting trained in a way that you don't really know. Unregulated, unsupervised.
The operational aspects are getting better for architects. Less than 3 years, I think that would continue. The tools will become more and more intelligent. And in 3 to 5 years is when I see this reverse prompting thing happens, right? Where the tool needs to know more information, more specifics before it gives you a solution.
I think that gives us a right segue to move into the next topic maybe, which is, I don't think titles will be any relevant going in this direction where AI is transitioning in the way that it is right now. I think titles, roles, everything will be sidelined. And even, I don't know, just last week, just 2 weeks back, I was having another podcast with Karthik, who was my ex-boss. We were talking about how AI is going to disrupt in a different way. Even I was explaining, or maybe I was telling him that, okay, we don't have an infrastructure or an ecosystem which is existing. AI is more standalone now. We're solving problem for one area at this point. Let's say for programming, you have one. For another one, you have something else, right? But then just last week Codex is released.
Yes.
And I heard you have some user stories defined, you give it to Codex, run it, go for your coffee break, maybe come back after 5 hours. You can see the Gantt chart created where it will show what is already done. It can fix code if it is buggy. It will say this is your shitty code, I'm going to fix it. And then this is really happening. Just last week, things are disrupting so fast in this world. I'm wondering where architects are looking at it right now. How are they even visualizing where this is going?
Okay. Yeah, we all are, if I can say so, scared of AI, right?
I'm not scared. I'm very much optimistic.
Concern?
Concern is always there. But yeah, maybe because I have my investments and everything safe in place, I am not too much worried. But yeah, I think somebody who's maybe starting off or they don't have their financials managed well will have it as a scary thought.
Let's for the fun, let's do this. Let's take a scenario where everything under the sun is done by AI. Everything. Okay. Even this podcast is done by AI. There's an AI bot who's asking question, and there's an AI bot.
That's really happening, by the way.
Right?
There are bots.
So humans essentially have nothing to do. Okay. So if you are not doing anything, you are not generating income, which means you don't have money to pay. So what are these AI doing? What are they creating, and who will buy it? Another AI, is it?
Yeah, that's an interesting take.
Right. So if no human has money to buy anything, why you need the investment in AI? I think it's a very far-fetched thought, right? How much AI can replace what we do, but it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Let's take this. Okay, there are two parts to an architect's job, right? Sorry. One is operational, right? So we design a lot of architecture diagrams, solution designs, and ER diagrams, sequence flows, etc. And then there's a strategic thinking that we do, right? Architects. Now, there are AI tools which architects are using to generate these diagrams in matter of minutes.
Already you're using. Okay.
And it's no longer like I open a tool and I drag one box here and one box here and then connect with an arrow. Okay.
You're giving a text prompt now.
Yes. So that's happening. So it's saving a lot of hours, tons of hours for architects, but it is at operational level, right?
What are you using? Diagrams are
AI?
Yes. Whimsical AI?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I mean, you can Google it. Will not take one or two names here, but there are a good number of tools available. but they are only at operational, taking care of the operational aspects, right? Where is the contextual thinking coming in, right? The strategic thinking, right? The tool is doing what you have asked it to do, right? But tool is not the kind of contextual thinking or the 360-degree thought process that I was talking about, right? Architect should know everything, right? Every aspect, each aspect. It's not about drawing an diagram, but it's all about why I have put this box there, right? How can AI tool do that, right? Which is missing today, right? Today, the tools that we use generates a diagram, but then we still have to improvise it. It's not to the best of what we expect, right? Yeah, so it's saving hours, but it's still not there where it has replaced the entire the department of architecture,
But
right?
not yet. We are
Not
saying
yet.
not yet.
Yes.
But you see that the possibility of it disrupting further, looking at the exponential way AI is growing, or at least
I have
generative
not
AI.
seen anything which is disrupting today, but from future perspective, okay, let's look at this again. I'm an architect, and I say I need to design a solution, okay. And today, who's giving the prompt? I as a user, I'm giving the prompt, and then the AI tool generates something and gives me, right? That's how it is, right? But as I said, it misses on the contextual information, okay. Now, in 3 to 5 years, what I see, and I hope it happens, right, uh, is reverse prompting. Okay, what it does actually, the reverse prompting. So I say, I need to design a solution, say a document sharing solution, and AI tells me, okay, do you want it on Azure or you want on AWS? And I say, AWS. Okay. Do you want it to also support, say, mobile applications? The users are able to upload documents from the mobile, or it's only from desktop? And I say, no, mobile as well. Android or iOS? I say both. Okay. Photographs or documents? I say everything. Do you want some checks to be done on the size? Yes. So that part is missing today, right? Which is not done by the AI, right? AI is doing something which you tell it to do, but that it doesn't think beyond it. It does. So get me a cup of coffee, you get me a cup of coffee, right? But do you ask me, right, how much sugar you need, right? You ask me, right, 1 spoon, 2 spoon, 0 spoon, right? Brown sugar, white sugar, what, right? That's missing, right? So 3 to 5 years, when I will call it disruption is when AI is doing reverse prompting, trying to understand more of context before generating a solution. And then I can say that, yes, it is somewhere near what I was expecting it to do. Give you another example, right? Say I want to design a car. Simple example, which everyone understands it. I want to design a car, and AI says, okay, you want to design a say sedan or a hatchback or SUV. I say sedan. Okay, okay, you want to launch in India or US, and I say no, I want to launch in all emerging economies like India, Brazil, Russia. Okay, you want a car to be designed for chauffeur driven, or you want more of rear seat comfort, or you want driver seat to be more premium. I said no, in India and all these countries there are enough chauffeurs available, so I need rear seat comfort to be more, and so on. What is the fuel type, right? And I want AI to ask me those questions, okay, the reverse prompting, and then it understands what 360-degree thought process I have before it gives me a solution. And that will be truly a disruption when, anybody who can sit in front of a system, answer those questions, and then maybe at the end of the day, after answering, say, 100 or 1,000 questions, you get to see the solution of your choice.
Yeah. But the context setting, is that not really happening? Because let's say even for preparing for this podcast, I normally use ChatGPT. It has a lot of references of what I have done until now.
Exactly.
So what happens is, as soon as I
Can
tell
I
it,
pause you?
yeah,
It has references of what you have done until now.
yeah,
It doesn't know what you want to do in future.
yeah,
That's the difference, right? AI does what we have done so far.
yeah. But maybe to counter, I was watching even other podcasts where the same um, the same kind of concerns people are raising, where there is one person who is optimistic like me, saying it's going in the right direction, where it might not disrupt, but it's going to be more of an enablement for people to do their job better, maybe, like you're
Exactly.
saying.
I totally
Right?
agree.
That's one way of looking at it. But there is another side of the world which is, I won't say pessimistic, but they are saying it is getting trained in a way that you don't really know. It can train it on its own, unregulated, unsupervised,
Yes.
and it can learn things which you will never know what it can learn, right? So that is the other side of the world, which is saying you don't really know its potential. So
And also, how do you remove the biases, right?
uh, yeah,
I think we
that's
have seen enough images. So I think 4.5 or 4, it generates the images, right? ChatGPT, and you say, sure, draw a poor family or a rich family, and a poor family is always more from Africa or
yeah.
Asia, and rich family is always from Europe, and that's a bias, right?
It will maybe it will evolve in a way like humans have,
Yes, and
maybe.
that's where the reverse prompting comes.
Yeah,
AI should ask me, you want to
at
show
one
me a rich
point.
family from India or Thailand or Pakistan or Germany, and then give me a solution. Today, AI listens to me and creates a solution without getting too much into details.
But do you believe that whatever tool which is available for general public is limited to what maybe wherever the funding is really happening, where billions are being spent on right now, even trillions maybe on uh, investments are flowing into governments wanting to
Yeah,
control this, where it could have whatever you're saying is already happening.
maybe.
Are you believing
I
that?
know what is available in the public domain,
Yeah,
right? I don't have any access to secret
yeah.
documents, but uh, I believe there's a lot of things which are happening, and not everything is on the cloud. Okay, I know about AI tools which are not on the cloud, but helps us do our job better. Okay, and they are not on the cloud for a reason, right? Like data protection. Will government fund to stop the evaluation? I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. They will
Yeah.
never stop it because it is really creating another kind of capitalistic world where
It's
production
becoming, the
is
wealth is becoming skewed now, right? If
more and
10% or
more.
2% of the Americans
Yeah, but
hold, yes.
more and more GDP is going to grow, maybe substantially more than what it is right now, because whatever we are seeing, at least productivity is improving. AI
Yes.
can work 24/7 without getting tired,
Yes.
which humans, it is always focused. So this is the new way I think things are moving. But yeah, coming back to our topic, you still believe architects maybe in the coming shorter run they still do what they are supposed to
Yeah,
do.
at least for next, as I said, operational aspects are getting better for architects. So in near future, less than 3 years, I think that would continue. The tools will become more and more intelligent, right? And in 3 to 5 years is when I see this reverse prompting thing happens, right? Where the tool needs to know more information, more specifics before it gives you a solution, right? And as I said, today you ask to design something and it takes some time, refers something and comes up. No, that's not what we want. We want, like when you go to a doctor and he says, okay, are you not feeling good? Okay, let me check your eyes, let me check your tongue, and let me check your temperature, let me check your vitals, right? And then prescribe a solution. Where is that happening today in AI, right? So it's doing what has already been done, right? But if I have a problem which is unique for a unique market segment or for a unique customer type, right? Then AI is still not the thing, right?
But do you believe uh, the disruption which is currently which has happened is more like, let's say an example is you are a chef. uh,
Last thing I want to be is a chef.
yeah, maybe I am a chef.
Okay.
I like to be that sometimes. And right now, as a chef, I don't really need to cook everything myself, but maybe orchestrate a lot of things that
True.
even I just need to make sure that these things is what is needed maybe for this event, and I get that done by enabling a lot of things, like being an orchestrator as a chef instead of going and cooking it myself. Similar parallels to as an architect, if I give the same kind of if I take that same parallels with an architect is more going to become like a chef who is going to decide what are the systems which are required maybe to fit in so that the whole solution is done by fixing the right kind of services systems in place which are no code, low code. So that means nobody needs to even code. Maybe you don't really need a, let's say, SRE reliability engineer in place because AI can take care of that. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they are redundant anymore, but yeah, that is one direction it is
Yeah.
going. Plus, you also have tools in AI which can even optimize your infrastructure, saying
Right.
this is the bare minimum you need. Looking at the data which is currently coming in,
Right.
as a coder with codex and all, which is right now, what it does is, if you have a bug in the code which is existing, it fixes, raises a PR to you and says this is the solution, this is the RCA to it, just review it and push it to production, or even you can automate it to it, right? So is that where the direction is now taking, where architect is more becoming like an orchestrator?
All
Or
the
am I,
examples that
or
you
am I
have.
too far fetched?
No, see, all the examples that you gave me are very much operational, tactical things,
Currently,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
currently. Second, you asked me a question like sometime, I mean, back, is that mindset change, right? And one is that ability to take decisions, right? Doesn't matter what tools are doing today, decision is always coming from some human, okay?
Yeah.
And that's where you need to be good at,
Okay.
okay? AI is not taking decisions on your behalf.
Right.
AI is giving you more options which are more detailed, accurate, faster, but it has to be you who will take the decision, right? And in that room, what we were talking, people will look at you. AI is suggesting this. Is this the right thing to do? And then you gather all your experience and your experience from product development life cycle and software life cycle and blah blah blah, and say yes, this looks like a better option, right? But will AI take the decision that you are supposed to take?
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, that's where the first part comes in, right? Second, all these AI tools, as you rightly mentioned, are today singular, right? They are operating on their own.
Yeah.
How many of them are talking to each other, right? I mean, let's look at a real life situation, right? How many solutions are working in isolation? I don't think anything that I've seen in recent past. Or
That's why I said the whole infrastructure has not
exactly,
evolved.
exactly.
Yet.
They need to know each other, right? The AI tool A needs to know there's AI tool B, right? And it will be a very complex setup, trust me, right? A complex system because everybody's talking to each other, right? And it will be quite some time before we get so much or so sophisticated systems implemented in our organizations, right?
Looking at all of these disruptions, or whatever is really happening now, how will somebody who's an entry level engineer who's aspiring to be an architect in the long run, what can he look up to now? Because all the things around every one of us is very negative. Negative in the sense AI is disrupting. It's positive in that direction, but in terms of career paths, roles, titles, it's all looking very blurry, right? So what is your take on this?
So, see a few things, right? I look at the AI and the tools that we have today, and which I foresee coming in next few years, right, as something which will enhance my productivity, will help me do my job more accurately, uh, and depends on how I use them, I will become more wiser, right? Okay, so I don't fear them. Point one, right? I should know how to use them for sure. For youngsters, it's important that they stick to fundamentals, right? When I say fundamentals, right, what are you doing as an architect, right? You are creating a solution to address a problem, which means you understand both the world, right? Business and technology. That doesn't change, right? That remains as is, right? And then I spoke about the reverse prompting, right? Now, unless you don't do this, you don't take care of these things, you will not grow. As in, when I say you will not grow, is that to become an architect, you need to know the business part and the technology part, right? And continue to do that, right? There's no exception. You continue to do that. Only things which will be changed is how are you going to use these tools, right? Will there be a day where systems will replace architects completely? I don't see it now happening immediately in next 5 years or so, but even if it happens, I don't know.
Yeah, even I believe if let's say it is going to happen, then the whole way of how software engineering is defined or working right now is going to completely change.
See, again, as I said, right, we need not to have those titles, right? Somebody is doing that role, okay, and as long as that role is being done by someone who's and the role is defining architecture for your module system solutions or enterprise level, right? You may choose to call him a lead developer or an architect or something else, right? But that job has to be done, right, by someone, right? And those decisions has to be taken by someone, right? Yes, we go with this decision, right? Go with this approach, right? And that's where I say anybody who's just starting their career, it's important that they understand fundamentals thoroughly, because when you take decisions, the quality of decisions will heavily depend on how much clear you are on your fundamentals, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I'm no oracle to see the future and tell what happens in 10 years from now.
Yeah, but you're very clear. Fundamental has to be strong. I
Has to
think
be
that's
strong.
what I'm really hearing from everybody who is an industry leader, that whatever it be, whatever disruption which might happen, but then if your fundamentals are not strong, you won't even survive
Exactly.
now or even in the
Now
future.
or in the future.
Right?
True.
Yeah, that's very clear. But one other question is, you have um gone through the grind of learning the trades or improving. Even recently, you had a lot of mentors who made you would have learned. That's like a long 20 plus years of journey of knowing the tricks of the trade.
Yes.
Is it going to be faster for any of these new entrants because AI is going to help them upskill faster because the
Yes.
wealth of knowledge is
Yes.
consolidated at one place?
Exactly. I think more you learn, more you realize that how little you know, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes you more wiser, right? I think this was some philosopher long back, right? Mentioned this, and yes, the entire, as we see, right, the product life cycle 30 years back was for 10 years, and product life cycle now is like 3 years. So yes, you will transition faster. Like if I took 15 years, it's not necessary that everyone takes 15 years. People may come back to come to this position in 5 to 10 years. But again, quality of experience, quality of decisions are really important. Okay, and I don't doubt why it will not be faster than what it was in my generation, right? So yeah, youngsters may, because the information is available to them, they have learned, they are now learning faster, they have access to more accurate information. Yes, they will do much better than what we did, and they will cover this journey much faster than what we did.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a very positive take
Exactly.
of where we are moving towards. I think that's very important, that this is clearly at least conveyed to everyone that things are moving in the right direction, just that your fundamentals has to be very strong.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good take, Abhay. Maybe we'll go to the last segment of this, and then we still have some more rapid fire before that.
Sure.
So, what do you feel is the future of architecture? Like we already discussed, is it the same that systems are going to evolve, but maybe the decision maker is final with one person, which is still needed in the system? AI cannot replace human yet.
Yes, I think we will still leave the final decision making to a human, right? AI will present us with a lot of options with supporting data, supporting arguments, why good, what is the bad, right? What are the pros and cons in long term, in short term, how will the cost evolve, etc., etc. So AI will help us gather a lot of information. Which button to press is still with someone who understand what AI has presented. Now, if there are three businessmen who are sitting and they get inputs from the AI, and these businessmen have no technical knowledge, how will they take a decision, right? They still need to rely on someone who understands what AI has presented, right? So again, titles may change, but that role, that somebody will still take that decision. Some human will still take that decision, right?
Yeah. But do you believe that a lot of AI, whatever is getting rolled out right now, is to more of fluff than disruption?
I think these are very early stage trends of AI, right? I mean, we just saw the beginning of AI journey. I mean, in next 10, 20 years, what shape it will take, right? No one knows, right? What I am using AI today for is maybe a few things. One is forget me. I mean, in general, what people are using AI for is it is becoming a good alternate to Google, right?
A better alternative?
A better alternative, right? And
Stack Overflow is dead, by the way. If you see their recent traffic around COVID itself, it was down, but then post COVID with AI evolution, now there is no traffic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the reason?
Again, it's the same. AI adoption, everyone is coming more to ChatGPT or
Exactly.
Copilot.
And there's so much in the Copilot, right? Developers hardly need to go out.
Yeah, it's in the same ecosystem.
Exactly. So you don't need to do
Yeah.
Stack Overflow or somebody and go and see. I'm experiencing this issue. What is the solution, right?
Even I don't remember the last time when I visited Stack Overflow. Because again, the problem with Stack Overflow was always that you were fighting with the moderators for the answers. AI is very polite.
Yes.
Until now, maybe I don't know in the future what shape it's going to take. But you don't really need to fight. You get the answers in a very polite way. So that is one reason maybe the old systems are dying. Yeah.
But as I said, right, what are we using AI for? Larger population,
Yeah.
search, alternative search. Technical people are the AI assisted coding, right? That's happening a lot, right? People are using Copilot for creating spreadsheets, presentations, right? So these are very early stage usage or proven use cases, right? We are also using AI in automotive, right, where this ADAS level 2 and 3 are becoming very popular, right? The lane assistance, right? The adaptive cruise control, the driver distraction alerts, right? So these are another good use cases, right? And uh, in healthcare, we are using AI a lot, right? And I was reading this article which said that AI is predicting diseases more accurately than doctors with 30 years of experience.
Doctors are maybe augmenting or using.
Yeah.
Because there were some screenshots of in news recently where doctors were really looking at ChatGPT for
Yes.
symptom
I
identification.
mean, do it, but don't do it in front of
In
your
front
patient,
of
right?
people, yeah.
then it's a problem of confidence, right? I really would not trust a doctor who's looking at ChatGPT and prescribing me medicine. You may be doing it, but don't do it in front of me, right, sir?
Maybe couple of years, even when I was adopting, I was feeling, am I cheating? Am I
No.
doing? That was what I was thinking. But then, as soon as I identified it is augmenting and helping productivity, I started using rigorously. Let's say, even let's say drafting a simple mail has changed for me. Like I just giving pointers of what I want instead of spending that lot of hours in maybe drafting longer mails. I am becoming, like you said, somebody who has to decide whether this is right or wrong. Right?
Exactly.
That's the same direction everyone is going. I guess.
But just if I can interrupt, right? That example of doctor is very similar to that of an architect.
Yeah.
Is very similar to that of a lawyer. The systems will give you options, right? a patient is there and you take the photograph of the patient, and then the AI tells you these are the three possible causes why he has red eyes, right? But eventually the doctor will take the final call, right? He will
Yeah.
just not depend on a mobile app to take the medicines, right? You will not file litigation just because a AI tool is saying you, because you'll still consult a advocate, right? So all these three cases, an architect or a doctor or a lawyer, right? There are alternates, right? Which you can see, there are tools which will generate what this will do, but that's only the data part, right? Decisions still will be taken by doctor, by the architect, or somebody who's playing that role, or by the lawyer.
Yeah, but I'm a little skeptical about it reaching doctors. Like just before this, we were talking offline about AI bias.
Yeah.
This is the biggest worry I have, because let's say it can diagnose something and tell these are the three ones, maybe, but I don't know if the doctor is unsure and decides to go with one of the options.
It's
That is
not
the
about
biggest.
doctor, it's about the patient. How sure a patient is that I will trust the app and not the doctor?
But ultimately,
Because
the
app is not responsible, right? It's the doctor who's responsible.
yeah. So you don't really know who's deciding there, because right now it is visible, but maybe in the background they are deciding based on an output coming from
Yeah.
AI tools.
True,
So
and but hospitals still need doctors, right? They cannot
yes,
fire doctors because there's a AI tool now, right?
yeah, that's true.
And the other thing is, again, the contextual information comes into the picture, right?
Yeah.
Brown eyes may not be a problem in certain circumstances for people from a specific geography, right? But from people from another geography, it could be something not normal, right? And how much of contextual information you can feed into the system, because it can be endless. And that's where, again, I keep coming back to that concept of AI knowing more and more before it can recommend,
Yeah.
rather than just throwing a question and what it does today, right? And that's very premature. And I think these are early days of AI. It will evolve a lot in coming years.
Yeah, I think we again went back to the same topic, but yeah, how are organizations evolving now? Do you see within your industry or within your company
Yeah.
adoption, evolution, let's say, on different aspects, including how they look at an architect, or even engineers who are maybe hired right now? How is organization evolving? Do you see a bigger adoption of AI right now, or it's still
Yes. We are seeing that.
okay?
So all our developers use AI tools to get better, to be more productive. Okay. In terms of products, right? And I can talk from the domains, like I'm into industrial IoT, be it cars or machineries, right? They all need maintenance, right? And from the concept of scheduled maintenance, we are now fast moving towards predictable or need-based maintenance, right? Once a year, my vehicle needs to go for servicing or maintenance, versus I take my vehicle for maintenance only if it is needed, right? It brings in less downtime. Okay. Predictability is there because I can monitor the vitals of the systems, right? So machines are now deciding, or the algorithms are now deciding when the machine needs maintenance, right? When a downtime, right? So I think both at product development level and at the kind of products we are developing, the concept, the AI and ML algorithms are already there.
Are you already starting to quantify it, or you're leaving it for future? Like, what is the kind of productivity which is coming out? Because as soon as that happens, everyone is now scared. Why are you even trying to quantify AI based productivity?
Yes, you are scared because you think my productivity will be questioned, right? But that's again a mindset, right? I said we are not replacing every human with machine, and if that happens, what will humans do, and where will be the investment come from, right? I think that's an obvious concern a developer may have. Okay, but the other part is how do you, what you asked, right? How do you quantify, right? It's difficult, right? Um, in software industry, we have this story point concept, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a very controversial
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And I think it was 2005 or 6 when I first started estimations in story points, right? It's 20 years back. And as you said, it's still very difficult or controversial, right? May not be for larger population, but it's still there are challenges associated with it, right? So how do you measure the productivity with AI, right? I mean, how do you tell developer that you are still slow, right? I think for me it's clear. Rather than judging the speed of development, I would say, am I achieving my business objectives, right? So next quarter I want to ensure that my software reaches to a certain level of maturity. Am I able to achieve that or not? If not, then my productivity is low. If yes, then I have the right productivity, right? Do I need more people, or can same set of people work? I let the team decide it, right? That's the best way, right? There's a concept of velocity, right? What's the
Yeah.
team's velocity, right? But it's a controversial, it's a very fundamental thing. How do you quantify the work, right? Story points, hours, any other thing, line of codes, right? But then complexity, how do you assess the complexity, right? All those things plays a role. And then again, there's a team with average years of experience, say 7, and then there's a team with average years of experience 15, and they do more complex things faster. The junior teams does less faster. Then how do you say what is the right experience level to do this complexity in this much of time? It's complex,
Yeah.
right? But that's why to it's important that we have business goal, business objectives, and then we say how do we align our engineers to this thing, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, when we were talking about this, just last week again, Microsoft, even before that, Microsoft was quantifying, saying 30% of their code is now generated using AI.
Yeah,
And that also reflected just last week, they fired 3% of
yeah.
their
Workforce.
population,
Yeah,
which was more product managers, which it did not make complete sense, because they fired product managers, and maybe some engineers too. But is that an after effect of AI, or is it just too much of hiring is still an open topic? But yeah, as soon as organizations or business leaders are now sharing these numbers, somewhere it is reflecting, okay, our workforce has to be trimmed down based on this. But my take is, yeah, if you can do more with the same people, if let's say you are showing productivity, because
yeah.
again, uh,
Now,
that's the other side of it.
again, I cannot comment on companies, specific companies, right? But if you can do same with same output with lesser number of people, that companies would be happy to do that, right? And if you build that culture of let people go, then those who staying back will think, will I be the next,
Yeah,
right?
the fear of the
Exactly.
next one being the next one.
And then you end up being a company where the churn out is very far. I mean, there's very low level of retention, attrition is high, people are skeptical of joining you. Will this become a new normal? I don't know.
It
But
should not.
it should not, because will you join an organization which is promoting such culture, right? I would be happy with little less pay package than joining an organization which needs me only for 3 years or 2 years and then asking me to go. No, I don't want that, right? Uh, we humans don't want it, right? No one wants that, right? So I don't know about Microsoft, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me that every quarter you lay off 3 or 5% of your population just because now you are able to manage without them. Then I think then there's a bigger problem. On what basis were you hiring so far, right? And why can't these people who may have asked to leave can't be, you know, uh, why can't they upskill themselves to a new technology, right? I'm sure big companies have a very robust hiring process. So these are good brains, right?
They are good brains, because one of the employee who came under the firing line literally was director of AI. Can you imagine that? So that also happened, and that's sad part of it. But yeah, this is really happening. Some of these big techs are have started to quantify these numbers, and
Yeah,
like you said, nobody would want to be in an organization where they
Exactly.
start counting numbers and try to maybe reorg around it.
Yeah, if your success mantra is so that you count the number of people you have let go, then I will stay away from that company, and youngsters will away from those companies, right? But we really don't know the behind the scenes
Yeah.
stories, right? So I will refrain from commenting on specific organizations, but I don't think this will become a new normal, as you said, right? It should be a trend which is short lived, okay? And maybe as waters settle down, we will hear less of such news.
Yeah. This is more coming from all the news publications recently
Yeah.
about what really happened. But yeah, again, Microsoft, I don't know whether they came out saying the same, but yeah, this is one part of where things are moving
Yeah.
towards. Yeah, I think we are at the close of the discussion. Maybe we will wind up after a short rapid fire round.
Sure.
It's about breaking the myth against the truth. Again, I will ask you some questions.
Okay.
You can, if it comes quickly in your mind, you can answer. If not, you can take your time. And if you want to maybe explain a
It's a rapid
little,
fire, right?
yeah, it depends
Let's
on
do
you
it
how you want
rapidly.
to
Yeah.
take it. Okay.